This is a podcast about our lived experience, which unfortunately includes infant death and subsequent mental health struggles. Please take good care of yourself and only listen if this content feels safe for you right now. We'll still be here when you're ready.
Hi, I'm Judith.
And I'm Alina. We both lost babies to SIDS in winter 2021.
In the throes of grief, I reached out to a stranger on the internet and our friendship was born.
In the years since, we've been working hard to survive, rebuild, and navigate the continual challenges that have come our way, including divorce,
Job loss,
dating while bereaved,
moving multiple times,
health scares,
pregnancy and parenting a living child,
starting new jobs, and so much more.
We are tired.
Happily ever after is out of the question for us, but this podcast documents our journeys to happier ever after because we believe life after loss is worth living.
So join us as we laugh, cry until we laugh.
Welcome to As Long As I'm Living podcast.
We're so glad you're here.
Okay, so this episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's been going on with this pregnancy. So heavy pregnancy content alert. If that's something you're not interested in, don't listen to this one. Just skip it. But this pregnancy has been challenging in some ways medically. Like we've had some stuff going on that, God, I look like shit. I look really tired. I have not been sleeping. I look like an absolute lunatic, which is appropriate for how I feel. So I am 28 weeks tomorrow, which is crazy. It's going by really fast, which I'm grateful for because it hasn't been like super breezy the whole time. The baby has been measuring small. So my son, Quinn, why did I say it like that? As though you guys don't know who Quinn is. My son, Quinn. Actually, I know why. It's because I was just at the OB and talking about him. Like my son, whatever. Quinn was a perfectly normal weight. He was 7 pounds, 11 ounces when he was born. But it was a very lightly monitored pregnancy because I was low risk and it was COVID. So I had an ultrasound, my anatomy scan at like 19-ish weeks, and then I never saw him again until he was born. This pregnancy, I think I've shared already that I have a marginal cord insertion. So the umbilical cord is at the edge of the placenta instead of in the middle, which means I was getting extra monitoring. And at that extra monitoring, they saw that she's measuring small. She's little. And so for the last 8 weeks, I've been going in for weekly scans because she is growth restricted, IUGR, intrauterine growth restriction. And like, I don't recommend Googling growth restriction if you, I really don't recommend Googling it. Also, I know babies who have died from IUGR, so like not fun. I've been pretty actively choosing to compartmentalize that from my brain, but I have been going in for like a shitload of scans. And the good thing is that some of her measurements are normal. It's just like her belly that has been small, which is the first one that gets small when they're growth restricted, my doctor said. So they're keeping a super close eye on her. But the first appointment where I went to go see, where we found out that she was growth restricted, I saw like a random MFM who was like really had terrible bedside manner. She was not like my normal MFM. And she was like saying that like the baby wouldn't die suddenly, which is comforting, that the baby would be more likely to waste away. But so we'd see it on the scans. So like bizarrely, that is actually kind of comforting because obviously with my history, sudden death is what's scary. And so I'm just kind of trying to like kind of pretend that that's not happening. Now, I did go in for a scan last week. And for the first time, her belly measured above the 10th percentile. So that is good news. That's what we wanted to hear. This is all so boring. I'm even bored just like talking about it, but I feel like the reason I'm like saying all this is
I think you're not really can I synthesize just for our guests? Because I think that you're like a little bit Looney Toony, which I get, who am I to say you're not? But I just feel like anyone listening to this would be like, what the fuck is she talking about? She's been talking about circles. Let me synthesize for everybody. I don't even know why you're still listening. Okay, guys, let me help you out. Here's what Lena's saying. She's saying that they had some concerns about the baby's size. The doctor's not concerned the baby's going to die, but for someone with Alina's history...
Not going to die sudden.
Okay, not going to die suddenly. It's going to be one of those things where they're able to track it. But there is some red flags. She's being seen a lot, not just pregnancy after loss a lot, but like potentially there's something concerning. That's a lot. That's one thing that she said. Separately, that she said is that because of her heart condition and because of Quinn's loss, she already is being monitored. So what Alina is trying to tell you guys is that this baby might have something potentially wrong, but isn't going to die quickly because they can take the baby out and she'll be just fine. And Alina has some medical issues that she's discovered since Quinn died. That's it. That's all she's trying to say. That the baby's being monitored and the baby might need to come out early. I don't know why that was so complicated. I don't know why. We don't care what MFM you saw or didn't see. Like, we thoroughly don't care. We don't care what MFM you saw. All we need to know is that the baby is measuring small and they might be concerned, they might not be, and they're measuring you and bringing you in a lot.
You guys, I'm losing my mind. Hold on, now I'm crying. I'm so pregnant right now.
By the way, another thing to say, just between you and me, as in me and you, the audience, let's leave Alina out of this. Alina, when I was pregnant with my most recent pregnancy, Alina kept saying to me, like, Judith, why are you so uncomfortable? Like, I wasn't that uncomfortable at the end with Quinn. She told me that multiple...
I didn't say that.
Yeah, she did. And she also said, like, you look so big and miserable. Why are you so sick? Why don't you feel well? I mean, this is basically what she said. I love being pregnant.
I need to say that wasn't what I was saying. That is what you were hearing, but that was not my intention. That was not what I was trying to say.
Okay, but that's what she said. She was like, I wasn't that uncomfortable. Like, why are you so uncomfortable? Now, payback's a bitch and I'm loving it. Alina's uncomfortable. She's miserable. She's not feeling young, hot, and peppy, and I'm living for it. She looks miserable, and I feel so good.
I look miserable. I look tired. I am miserable and tired.
I love it. I love it. Please, more. And every time she complains, guys, in case you're wondering, I say, imagine it being 100 degrees outside. Just to make myself feel better. So, you know what, Alina?
For what it's worth, it was 100 degrees the first time with Quinn.
It was 100, but she was feeling different then because she was younger.
I think, in summary, I'm not doing great. And you guys can't see me right now, but I'm like in one of those pregnant moods where I'm like laughing hysterically and there's also like tears falling out of my eyes. I'm like so tired.
And I am so happy to be watching this. It feels so good.
I'm so tired. I just peed a little bit. Like everything's like a mess. And like my son died.
Okay, so you're getting it measured because the baby may be small. Now, the solution to this, my understanding, is they just induce earlier.
Right.
Okay. So what did they tell you today?
I don't know. I don't even know. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed. I think that we can wrap this up. What I want to say.
We haven't started. You haven't told us what happened. We can't wrap it up. We don't know what there is to wrap.
I'm just going to talk about a little bit of my feelings about being pregnant subsequently, and then I think we can just call it a day. Because I'm a disaster.
Okay, that sounds good. But can we go back to what happened today? What happened?
Oh, I got a shot in my butt, and I got a shot in my arm, and I had to bend over the table and get a shot in my ass. And the doctor, while I'm bare ass, leaning over the table. The nurse. She's like, is this your first pregnancy? And I said, no. And she said, oh, who do you have at home? And I said, no. I was literally my bare ass. died. And she said, oh. Oh. And then she said, I do remember reading that in your chart. I'm so sorry. So I was like, I did have a live birth, but he's dead. So hopefully this will be
Oh my God, I so quit.
I can't. I
don't even know.
Life is an assault after your baby dies. And I feel like pregnancy in and of itself is like kind of an assault of like just medical procedures. And you kind of like have to just suffer the indignities of like bare ass on the table, getting shot in your ass. And I am just like, I'm tired. Like, I'm overwhelmed, and I just keep thinking this kid better be cute. Like, she better be worth it, and she better not fucking die. Because, like, it's a lot. And I really don't want her to die. I'm starting to realize that, like, I'm actually very attached to her specifically, as opposed to just being attached to the pregnancy. You know? And if she were to die, like, I'd miss her specifically, like, her specific kicks and her specific little personhood. She's starting to have, like, a little personality in there. Like, I can feel her different kicks and their different times of day and her little routines. And I just don't want her to die. We've done so many... This episode is such a shit show. We've done so much prep around the house. She has a nursery now. She's got a pizza nursery and a crib. There's just been a lot coming up, and I feel like I needed this cry, so I'm glad I laughed hysterically to the point that I started crying, because I feel like I really needed the cry. This episode is probably going to come out around Quinn's 4th death anniversary. So this is my first death anniversary pregnant with a subsequent child. This is my first death anniversary where I have to multitask as a parent. I know you've done that the whole time. And in some ways, it already is making it easier. And I can't even believe I'm saying that. But I do feel like there's just like a part of me that is joyful in a way that I haven't been since he died. Like, I feel like I've already been able to like open the box to like a part of myself that has been missing. And it's also really, it's just hard. I can't imagine loving someone as much as I love Quinn, and it feels like a betrayal to him to love someone as much as I love him. And I know that's like a normal second time mom thing, but it just feels all the more intense because he's dead. So
can we go back for 1 second, which is, are they worried about her growth or not?
Judith, I would love to answer that question for you, but I don't know. I'm staying out of it.
Okay.
I don't know.
So she is considered intrauterine growth, or she's not? She is until next week, and then maybe she's not?
If she measures normally next week, then I think she gets it removed from her chart.
But she's still at the 11th percentile?
Right.
But is she growing?
She is growing, yes. And I'm measuring normally. I think, like, let me just be, okay, I think I've calmed down a little bit. I am 95% sure most of the time, not right now because I'm deranged right now, but like in a normal, as I go through my day, I am almost positive that what's happening is we have over monitored her and she's just like living her life in there, and babies grow in fits and starts, and sometimes they're small and sometimes they're big, and Quinn could have been little, you know, like none of it matters. Like, I have a feeling she's going to be fine. And I'm also scared, obviously, but I would have been scared anyway. It just feels like so frustrating to have an actual thing to be scared about. Like, I would so much rather be like, there's nothing wrong, Alina. Like, it's okay. Like, take your deep breaths and everything's normal. But instead I have to be like, everything's normal, except like also she might waste away and die and you have to deliver early and like all this stuff. Like, it's just very frustrating that,
considering my first pregnancy experience was so easy breezy, and I know people have very complicated pregnancies, and all things considered, this is actually not that complicated. It just feels like, I just feel like I earned an easy pregnancy and I'm like not getting one. I'm like, I'm mad about it.
It's hard to know if there's a world in which you would have gone to appointments and because you weren't being extra monitored, they wouldn't, they would be like, she's growing, like it's fine.
Yeah.
It's hard to know. I do think that MFMs like always find something, even if there's nothing, they like always find something. And so I think there's a little bit of that going on, but I also think similarly, like Alina, like you were going to be scared no matter what.
Yeah.
You would find something to panic about no matter what. The reality is you're attached.
The reality is that I'm attached.
I had a conversation today with this woman. I met this woman recently who I really liked. She's very similar to me. You know what? She's me if she hadn't lost a child.
Ah.
If you want to know what the other path looks like, they live in Stamford, Connecticut, and they seem very nice. She seems lovely.
Sounds rich. She lives in Stamford.
Maybe not Stamford, Connecticut. No, not rich, like normal. So maybe not Stamford. What's another place over there?
Wait, is Stamford not a rich place of product?
She seems very normal.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so I met this woman and she was telling me about how she has like a bunch of kids, and she was telling me how 12 hours after she had her last child, she went home. She was like, everything was fine. The baby was healthy. I was healthy. It was like this beautiful birth. And then I wanted to just go home. Like I was tired. I wanted to go home. So she was like, I just like left the hospital. I told them like, I'm leaving. And she like just left the hospital and went home. And she was like, it was amazing. We put the baby down and we both slept because that first night they always sleep so good. And then my kids came in the morning to meet their brother. And it was like this beautiful moment. She's like, why do I need to be in the hospital? Like, and at that moment, I was like, and we are not the same person. It was like, we have so much in common. Like, I really think you're great. And then like, I was like, and that's where the moment ends, because let me tell you what happened to my son 12 hours after he was born. He turned blue. And then he turned blue again. And then he turned blue a third time. And because if I was home when my son was turning blue, I would assume he was dead, because that's what happened the last time. So what made me think of that? What made me think of that is like,
it's because we're so not normal.
What you deserve is what this woman in Connecticut had.
Yeah.
Like this perfect, beautiful moment. Everything was healthy. She was like, I was fine. It wasn't even that everything was fine. It was how confident she felt that everything was fine. Like I could tell just by speaking to her, like she was like, it was great. I had this beautiful, happy moment with my family. And I was like, wait, I didn't get that.
I mean, even today, the midwife asked if my baby's named, like if she has a name. And I said to her, I was like, I gave her the normal answer. Meanwhile, my brain was running wild. So what I said out loud is, oh, we have a name that we're pretty attached to, but we're not 100%. Like I want to meet her. In my brain, I'm like, the name that we've picked out is probably not the name we would give her if she dies. So I have to wait and see if she's born alive.
I totally had those thoughts. And then I think to myself, funnily enough, when I had those thoughts, I'll think to myself, I mean, if this baby lived, I would name him that. But if he dies, and then I think to myself, you know what, Judith? It's just a name. If he dies, it'll probably be his name too. Like in the end of the day, and then I say, and what if you meet him and then you name him that name and then he dies 3 months later? He already has that name he chose. So it's like,
and that's our experience. That's our experience, which is so funny that we both have had this thought. Like,
right. So then I say to myself, yes, I have a dead baby name and a live baby name in my mind, except that alive babies sometimes become dead babies.
So true.
So just pick the name that you love, because if you like this name, that's the name.
I know. I really think we have talked enough about this topic, and so I'm happy to let it go. But I do feel like, just listeners, I am a disaster, and I knew pregnancy after loss was going to be hard. And actually, hang on, let me also say, I am also well mentally in a way I wasn't expecting. This particular half hour, not my best work. Not the high point of my mental stability over the last couple of months, to say the least.
No, but you've been doing great. It's funny that we're having this conversation, though.
Yeah. Overall, I have actually been feeling well. I'm taking an antidepressant and I'm being closely monitored for mental health, and I am like doing well. Like I'm able to successfully, whether the word is compartmentalize or dissociate or whatever, like a vast majority of the time about the stuff that's really causing me a lot of anxiety. I've had definitely a couple of more than a couple of breakdowns, but like about things that make sense to break down over, like trying to go through Quinn's stuff and like building a crib. Like, of course that's scary to have a crib in my house again. It makes sense that would be scary and that would cause a panic attack, right? Like, but overall I've been feeling really well, and I am so unwell, and it feels really sad to wish away this pregnancy, but really like in this moment right now, I am like, I'm not enjoying the experience in a way I did last time.
Oh my God, I fucking love this. Everybody listen to what she just said. I feel so justified.
I told you I would. I knew it would be different.
I feel so justified because I feel like I've been so in my pregnancies after loss have been miserable. You just want it over with. It doesn't feel like enjoyable. It just feels like difficult, hard. And I feel like when people saw me, especially in this most recent one, they were like, wow, you don't look good. You look rough. And I wanted to be like, it is so rough. This is not going well. I don't like this. This is bad news bears. Get it out of me. Get it out of me. Like I can't function like this. And I just feel so justified because I feel like you're someone who loved being pregnant. And if you hate being pregnant right now, then I'm like, fuck yeah. See, everybody? It's not just me. It's like if you didn't like being pregnant to begin with, you're really not going to like it. And Alina loved being pregnant. She still doesn't love it. It's like,
I would say I liked being pregnant last time. I wouldn't say I loved it. I was not one of those like moms who was like,
okay, but you liked it.
I liked it.
And now you see that it's so difficult, complicated, all consuming.
I mean, it is so much. I don't even know what adjective to use, but it is so much.
Yeah.
That despite the fact that I've always wanted 3 alive children, like if I picture my life at 70, when I'm 70, I want 3 alive adult children around my table. And I am sitting here and I'm like, I don't think I can do this 2 more times.
Alina, I feel so seen.
I don't think I can do this 2 more times. And I'm not even talking physically, but physically, sure. But like, just, it's a lot.
I feel so justified. I'm feeling great, guys.
I feel like shit.
I'm feeling great. Yes, this is what I've been saying this whole time. When I had my son, I was like, I just don't know if I can do this anymore. I don't know if I can physically. I also wanted 3 alive children, and I don't think I'm going to have that now. And it's like not just physically. Fine, physically, nothing is where it was. Fine, okay, but like mentally, just so draining to be in that space, to open your heart up, to be vulnerable, to feel like you're on the cusp of potential death at any moment, to feel like you're responsible. You, solely you,
yes,
are responsible for keeping this child alive. Always. No one else can share that burden. Just you, to feel like they're taking, and you're triggered by your own self and your body, and you want it over with, and you're so afraid that you're going to lose it. So you're appreciating every moment. So you sit there and you're like, I want to remember this, but I want to forget this. And it's so much. It's like, I never want to do this again, just because that it's so overwhelming, just that it's all consuming, and you're so drained just from the mental load of carrying a baby that might live, but that you try not to get attached to, and then you're attached to it, and you can't just enjoy it because you're so aware of the million ways it could end, but you're so enjoying it because you've wanted it for so long. It's horrible.
It makes me really happy, Judith, to hear you rant about this, because I know you've felt this way for so long, and because of my situation, you haven't ever been able to say that in that many words, right, to me and on this podcast.
Well, I want to be sensitive.
No, I know, and it's lovely, but it makes me happy as your friend.
Yeah,
to be able to.
It's horrible.
Yeah, to hear you say all of that,
and it feels there's this sense of relief, and I don't feel like I'm not 100% sure if I'm done. I'm not done. I don't know. Like maybe I'm like 90% done. I think.
Yeah.
But there's something that feels good about like saying, okay, I'm done. Like I'm not 100% done always, but when I am living in the space of done, there's something that feels so good of being done, where you're like, oh my God, I don't have to do that ever again. I don't have to like worry about trying to get pregnant. And then first you worry about if you can get pregnant, then you get pregnant, then you're worried about a miscarriage. Then when you have a baby and you're worried about an early loss, like before 20 weeks, then you're worried that you're going to get pregnant, stillbirth.
And you're going to have to deliver a stillbirth.
Then you're worried about a pregnancy complication. Then you're worried that you're going to have some sort of hemorrhage that's going to affect your fertility.
And you'll die in the birth. And then you're worried you bring the baby home.
Then you're worried about postpartum depression.
Oh my God. Oh my God, Judith, I took the prenatal depression test. I'm telling you, like, this disappointment was just like an onslaught. She was like, how frequently do you cry, like, unexpectedly?
I know. My answers to those, I literally am like, dead baby. Just like, call me, not, like, I fill out those things.
I didn't test, like, you know, concerning for depression, but, like, definitely, like, I'm answering these questions, like, in the context of someone whose fucking baby died. So it's just, like, so dumb to answer the stupid survey. Like, they need a different survey.
The whole thing is ridiculous. Then there's something relieving of being like, oh my God, I don't have to do that ever again.
Yeah.
Then the baby's born, by the way, and you're worried it's going to die the whole time. And then you're like, wait, if that chapter is closed, oh my God, that's amazing. But then you're like, oh my God, that chapter is closed.
Yeah.
And then you're like sad. And then you're like, wow, that happened so fast. I'm not ready for it to be done. It didn't go the way I wanted. I wanted a happy pregnancy. I wanted to feel fertile and beautiful and angelic. And I wanted to feel, and then you think, and then you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to have a newborn again. And that's when I feel closest to Aiden. And I'm never going to have that again. And then you're like sad. And then you're like, maybe I should do it one more time. And then you're like, oh, fuck no. And that is the circle of my head, in case you were wondering.
Well, listeners,
wait, I forgot one more step.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Which is then you think to yourself, oh, I have all this stuff in my basement I should get rid of. Then instead of Alina, it was so crazy because there was this day where Alina was going through Quinn's clothes, being like, what can I use? What can I not use? And at the same time,
what do I need to buy new? I was saying, what do I need to buy new? I was thinking about getting new stuff.
And that same day, I was thinking about how the bassinet, how my son has almost outgrown that bassinet attachment to my stroller that I bought for Aiden. And I was like, what do I do with that? Do I keep it? Do I give it away? I'm going to give away Aiden's bassinet attachment where he slept. But what am I going to do with it? Like, it's like this huge, big, it's like, then it gets so complicated.
Yeah.
So my solution is to find a lost parent that has the same stroller so I can give him the bassinet attachment, which is what I did, Alina, with my daughter's clothes. I gave it to Alina. And I'm also doing with his bassinet, which I'm going to get to you. Do you need anything else that I can get you?
I don't know. I don't know. I stay out of it.
I said that too.
I've done enough stuff.
Yeah, you have.
I am, I think what I want to say is that for any listeners who are currently pregnant after loss, I'm sorry. And it's hard.
I'm sorry. Congratulations.
I'm sorry. Congratulations. If you were currently trying to get pregnant after loss, Godspeed. I hope you get pregnant. And also, I'm sorry. And I don't envy you that you have 9 months to go. I'm glad I'm almost at the end.
Alina, I have to tell you this thing that my friend Rachel texted me this morning right before we started recording, 10 a.m. How is Alina? She must be close. Sounds terrifying.
Alina is a disaster. She's having a full-blown meltdown. And then the last thing I want to say is I waited a long time for this, and there is no part of me that is not, despite the fact that I am so overwhelmed and so tired and so stressed, and I don't even mean this in a toxic positivity way, I am also so happy. I feel like this whole episode has been a lot about how hard it has been, and it has been hard. You caught me at a hard, whatever. And I think it's great to record while it feels hard, because that I think is very relatable. I'm also so extraordinarily happy and joyful and excited.
I know you are.
And I am so grateful to be at this point in the journey. I feel like it's been a really long time.
We're in the final stretch.
It's been a really long time that I haven't had a baby in my arms, and it just, there's something just so, it feels so good to be so visibly maternal. Like, to present to the world as a mom again. Because I've been a mom this whole time. And so a lot of it has also been really beautiful and special and wonderful and hard. So, yeah,
And all the empathy to all the pregnant after loss and soon to be pregnant after loss and formerly pregnant after loss parents.
We should call this episode, Congratulations, I'm Sorry.
To all of our wonderful new friends, we want to hear from you. Email us at aslongasimlivingpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at aslongasimlivingpodcast. We'll get back to you as soon as our grieving brains allow.
Yay!